Welcome to FPTV and welcome to FPTV New Releases, where it's my pleasure to be joined by the awesome Matthew Rosenberg and by the fantastic Declan Shalvey, Mr. Declan Shalvey. How are you guys?
You. Not too bad. Is fantastic better than awesome? I'm not sure.
Well, you know, I tried to be very democratic about the way I handed it out. I can flip it round at the end if you like.
No, I don't. Awesome's too American, so I'll stick with.
That's what I thought, mate. That's what I thought. And guys, we're both here to talk about issue 1 of a great new book you're both involved with from Marvel. It's Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, issue 1, which everybody watching this can pre-order from the links attached to this video. So we're here at forbiddenplanet.com at FPTV. You can order your copy right here of Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, issue 1. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about, because interestingly, you boys aren't actually working together on this book. It's essentially a kind of like mini series of like standalone anthologies, if I understand it correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, I refused to work with Matt.
Right, yeah. Declan is the rare artist who thinks he's better than writers, so he doesn't use I like to view us all as equal, but yeah, no.
If anything, I'm an artist supremacist.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the book is short stories. It's each issue is going to be 3 10-page shorts taking place at various times in Wolverine's history. So yeah. My short is with the amazing Josh Cassara, who's drawing X-Force now.
And you're getting to do, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, it's I think I'm just about to name one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters, so I hope I'm not fucking this up. I think yours is Wolverine and Nick Fury, am I right?
That is correct, yeah.
Oh man, classic Nick Fury, right?
Classic Nick Fury. Yeah, mine is set in the nebulous past. It's a sort of Cold War story. When I realized I could do any time, I wanted to do. My first thought was like, well, I've never written the old Nick Fury, the classic Nick Fury, because he's been off the table since I've been at Marvel. So I was just like, yeah, can I do a sort of spy story? And they let me do it, which is awesome. And Josh draws an awesome Nick Fury and an awesome Wolverine.
Yeah, he really does.
No, I mean, the artwork for this book is which you can see attached to the imagery, actually the pre-order imagery. It's just incredible. What I want to ask you before we get into your story arc, Declan, is like, whose idea was it to come up with this whole like visual color palette, do a black and white book with blood layered on top of it? Where did that come from?
Well, I'll say like it was Mark Basso, the editor of the book, got on to me. I assume it was the same with Matt, but he said it was first. It was like Wolverine story. I was like, yes. Then he said it was in black. You can do whatever you want, which is like the cool thing that Matt got to work with. Do Nick Fury. Like it was a fairly open brief. You can do whatever you like, pretty much. That's also great, and it's in black and white with like as an artist, black, white, and red is just a gloriful. Color palette. So it was really just like, where's the line to say yes? Because it was just perfect. There was very, I think there was, I don't know if there's really that much limitations. It was so cool to just be offered something that's just do whatever you like with this cool format. It was really exciting.
Yeah, they said that Mark Basso reached out to me and he said, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And then he said, you can't do a Weapon X story because everyone keeps asking. Which is funny because I wasn't going to do a next story, but it was nice to know that everyone was asking. And our first issue, there is a Weapon X story by the amazing Jerry Duggan and Adam Kubert.
So you can tell. So what Matt's trying to say is that Jerry's story is unoriginal because it was the obvious go-to.
Yeah. Or Jerry they knew Jerry would throw a big tantrum if he didn't get to do it, so they had to let him do it and wouldn't let the rest of them.
Yeah, it makes
one or
sense.
the other.
So
it's all coming out now.
So to bust it down for the audience, so I'm clear and they're clear, we've got Jerry Duggan and Adam Kubert doing a Weapon X story. We've got Matt and Joshua Cassara doing your kind of deep cover Nick Fury story. Right?
Yes.
And then Declan, you're writing and doing the art on your 10-page story, right?
Yeah, as a writer, I'd like to very much compliment the artist on the story. But I will. Yeah, that's true. I'm writing, and I wrote and drew my story, which was great because that was the offer from Mark as well. So I literally couldn't say no. It's everything I could have wanted to do, and I've read the other stories. Like I was saying to you before we started, getting to do an issue 1 of a Wolverine book with Adam Kubert on it as well is just, who gets to do that, you know? So yeah, it's just absolute fanboy artist writer dream gig, you know. And then I found out, you know, I know I got stop being an asshole. Matt's story with Joshua is great. Like the art is fantastic on that one,
It looks amazing.
and even with Adam Kubert, like you'd think that you're kind of, there's some artists who do stints on a character and like you know exactly what the character is going to look like, and it's just boring. And he still has this new, like, you know, it doesn't look like the story you've seen before. Like he's clearly still has this great enthusiasm for Wolverine. So yeah, it's just a deadly book to be on.
Yeah, when Josh started turning in art for our story, I was like, oh man, Josh is so good, and I was like, he's going to embarrass everyone else on this book. And then when I read it, and I was like, oh, it's Declan and Adam, like definitely no one is getting embarrassed. Like the book is just so beautiful. Like it's
I was hoping it would be like not great artists on the first one, which would give me a chance to shine. But then I saw it was Adam and Josh. I was like, damn it, oh well. But no, even what I love about Joshua is seeing his stuff in black and white as well, which it's every artist's like secret dream to have their work published in black and white. And I love Joshua's stuff anyway on X-Force, but seeing just like how good he is in black and white as well is great. And also Adam Kubert as well. Like it's instead of it just being another Wolverine book, like there's something really special that you can add with, like, because especially with my story, like I wrote it to work with the format of that thing rather than just popping a bit of red in there. And you can see it with the other stories too, especially with yours, Matt. I saw there's a lot more kind of like painterly approaches with it as well.
Yeah, it's I tried to like give Josh some ideas in my script, and then he was like, yeah, thanks, but actually I have much better ideas, and he really ran with it. And like his use of the red is like, I don't know, it doesn't, I know that some people are like turned off by a black and white book, which is crazy to me, but I know that some people are, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like this very stylized, cool thing, but also like it's just an awesome Wolverine comic. Like it feels just like a classic.
Yeah,
awesome
being able to do like whatever stories in whatever time periods is really cool. Like even with me, I think I just wanted to tell a kind of a done in one Wolverine story, but it didn't really suit him to be in the costume. But I suggested him being in the new X-Men jacket, which is great because I love that jacket. So I got to, so as a fan, I got to draw that jacket, but it also puts him in a certain time period over like this long, like, you know, there's so much room with a character like Logan or Wolverine.
No, for sure. I mean, I'm a man of a certain age, and I've been a Wolverine fan since he, first appeared in The Incredible Hulk, to the point that these days there aren't that many Wolverine books that I read because I've read so much in the past. And straight up, I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing you boys about this, but when I saw the advanced pages for Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, I was like, I am 100% picking this up because it gave me that kind of almost kind of Sin City jolt. The way you've played around with that very specific format and color palette, there's a real power, I think, to what you've all achieved with those stories. The clips that I've seen of each one was just like, yes, I'm going to pick this up. You know what I mean? And
I think it might be that because so many people love Wolverine and want to work on him. And you get this one, you basically just get this you get this 10-page chunk, and it's nice that it's 10 because it's a bit more than 5, so you can kind of put a bit more meat on it. It's just a space for like every creator to go just nuts or just do something that's way more, I don't know, it makes you want to bring your A game more than just say, I don't know, a short story fill-in or something. It feels curated. It feels, it appeals to my to my massive ego.
So guys, now that we're talking Wolverine, for both of you, for each of you, what are the Wolverine runs or creators, from from the past that you guys have really responded to? You know, what's your kind of ideal vision of Wolverine outside of your own thus far?
Wow.
Mm.
I mean, you know, I'm a lifelong Wolverine fan. I had a Wolverine statue on my bedside when I was a wee little one, and you know, going all the way back to the Frank Miller stuff. You know, I love that. Obviously, Barry Windsor Smith Wolverine, Weapon X stuff is unreal. But for me, like, I'm a huge fan of him and the team dynamic, like the giant size X-Men, and then when Claremont gets him, like it's really, I think he really shines there as a character because he feels different, and you really get like there was a lot of characters sort of like Wolverine when he was coming out. There was like the gritty, grim stuff, but like seeing him in that team dynamic, I think always made him something different for me and something special. Like he stands out from Punisher or Ghost Rider in that way. Like he's a team player, but in a very different way. So you know, for me, it's those old X-Men runs. It's like the Outback stuff and Mutant Massacre, like Wolverine heavy X-Men stuff is my Wolverine go-to for sure.
I think that's a great answer. I think you really got to give it to Claremont in terms of the success of that character. I mean, I know it was Len Weiner created him, but the success of Wolverine, really more than anybody else, I think, is down to that voice that, you know, Claremont gave him, and that he wrote it with such specificity. You know what I mean? He really leaps out of that book, and that's a time when, you know, kind of plotting and narrative and dialogue were, you know, more, you know, what's less sophisticated perhaps than they are now. You know, but that character stands out the book right from the moment he appears.
Yeah, for sure.
How about yourself, Declan?
Mine would be the bandana Wolverine. You know, when he's with the bandana and
Oh,
dials.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
no, just kidding. Although I am, and I'm not kidding. Because that was my prime age. I started reading American X-Men comics. It was just before Age of Apocalypse, so I think, what was it? Issue 25 is when yeah, because I remember I went back and I read some of the earlier ones, and yeah, it was when his adamantium was pulled out. And even though, say, Adam Kubert is, you know, arguably the quintessential Wolverine artist, it was his brothers. Andy Kubert's Wolverine was the one that that was the one I was used to, because like Matt said, like the team dynamic. I read X-Men. I wasn't able to read Wolverine. So part of me will always be that, like, Jim Lee, Andy Kubert. So not because it's necessarily better, but just because it's always hard to get over that immediate the thing that you just fell in love with originally. You know, sometimes it's a problem. I think sometimes creators are so in love with the thing that they liked originally that they can't move characters on. But like, which is why I worry sometimes. You know, when a creator says, "This is my dream character," you're like, "Oh, that might not be a good thing." Yeah, I can't say that, like, you know, that's what I go to when I think of Wolverine.
Yeah, I think they're two great answers, and in terms of this format that you're working with, so like I said, you know, Black, White, and Blood is such an inspired idea, and it's such a beautiful execution of that idea. If you had those same format restrictions with any other character, and you had Black, White, and another color on another character, who would that character be, and what would the color format be?
I think Matt already came up with that, didn't you, Matt?
Well, it was the same colors, but I believe that I was pulling for a long shot book that could be black, white, and red, but it was all different leathers.
Yeah.
It was the colors of the different leather that all the characters wear. That's what I was pulling for.
I suggested a Black Panther, black, white, and black, where it's all silhouettes.
Yeah,
and I nominated myself to draw it too, because it would be so easy.
Yeah. I think those are two inspired answers. And guys, while you're on, you know, kind of in addition to this fine work that you've done on Black, White, and Blood issue 1, what are you guys working on at the moment?
Yeah, I'm sure you're doing more, Matt.
I'm doing a bunch of stuff that I can't talk about yet, but I can say I'm co-writing an arc of Amazing Spider-Man starting this month, next
Mate,
month.
I misheard that for a second and thought you said you were co-writing Arkham Amazing Spider-Man. I was like, what? That's amazing mic drop.
Yeah, we have some legal problems to get through, but we think it's gonna go.
Can you say who's drawing that, Matt?
I can. Federico Vincentini, who's
wow.
a new guy at Marvel, and is like, I know that you're always supposed to be like, yeah, this is amazing, and he's doing amazing work, but he is really like, this is a guy who's going to be a superstar this time next year. He's a household name for sure. Like it's so beautiful, and it's like Amazing Spider-Man, so you're always like, everyone's got their like, oh, well, Mark Bagley, Stuart Immonen, Todd McFarlane, whoever it is that is your like Amazing Spider-Man guy. And when they were like, oh yeah, this artist that you're not that familiar with is doing it, I was like, okay, that's cool. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, he's going to be an Amazing Spider-Man. Like, he's going to be some fans' favorite Amazing Spider-Man artist. So that's exciting. And it's I'm co-writing with Nick Spencer, and then I have a bunch of stuff I'm working on that I can't talk about. So that's fun.
I mean, that in itself sounds, a big Spider-Man fan, that in itself sounds super exciting. Just the opportunity to work on it with somebody who's going to be big and a major, working with one of the chance to have one of those arcs you've created that people always talk about and remember. I mean, you boys have both all done plenty of that already, but it's when you working on it and that's where it's going to go, that must be a great feeling.
Well, it must be amazing. Like, I'll never work on Amazing Spider-Man. I'm never going to be that guy. There's only a particular type of artist can be an amazing Spider-Man artist, and the same as regards writing. Like, that's the top, man. That's great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm really lucky to do it, and it's weird because it's like the only thing I have right now that's announced. I think I have a couple little things coming out, short stories and stuff, but I keep being like, yeah, it's just Amazing Spider-Man. Then I have to like catch myself and be like, yeah, it's Amazing Spider-Man. It's like one of the greatest comics ever made. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's the original Marvel DNA. Or okay, Fantastic Four came first, but if you want your classic archetypal Marvel book, it's got to be Amazing Spider-Man, right? There isn't
yeah, for sure.
I hope we're not psyching you out here.
It's like the baseball game where the coach goes over the top and come on, man, you got this.
Yeah. No, you're gonna read it and be like, what did he do? Why did he say so hard on Amazing Spider-Man? I'll be like, it was all this call. He ruined it. Declan, what are you doing?
Also something I can't talk about.
Yes.
For Marvel, it'll probably be announced pretty soon, because I say it's out in January, so I think it'll be solicited this month. But I'm writing and drawing a one-shot on a character I've never really worked on before at Marvel, and I've just finished the layouts today actually, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm just about to get stuck into the drawing, and it's a lot of fun. But I can't say what it is. What I will say though is that I hope that people do get behind this Wolverine book, because as a fan, as a reader, I'd love to read more stuff like this. This tends to be the stuff that like DC did more of. Like, they did like kind of experimental prestige stuff, and Marvel don't do a lot of it. So like, I hope people get behind it, because I'd love to see, I don't know, Stuart Immonen Fantastic Four short story, or like, just you get to see more cool stuff than you get to see otherwise. And I love this type of stuff, so I hope it does well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well said, mate. And I think that's a good note on which to close out, which is buy this book because it's fantastic, and you're going to have a great experience, not just with the beautiful stories and the amazing artwork, but the format itself. It's a beautifully expressed idea, I think, guys. So, well played. I can't wait to have it physically in my hands. And please come back and talk to the new books you've just alluded to when they're announced. Let's do another one of these and have another chat.
Sure,
for sure. Yeah.
So this has been FPTV New Releases, talking about the epic new Wolverine Black, White and Blood issue 1. We've been speaking to Matt, we've been speaking to Declan, and you can pre-order the book from the links attached to this video. Thanks for joining us this evening, guys. It's great to see you both. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.